Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from the Joy 99.7 FM studios, Kokomlemle in Accra, at digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country, including Pad FM in Damango, Kekeli FM in Ho, and Radio Max in Takrade. It's on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, DigiBank, Let's Go, SuperSem, Build Your Dream, and Telesol 4G, just a touch. In this edition, senior military officer and one other person suspected of engaging in an elaborate plot targeted at the presidency slapped with charge of possession of explosives, arms and ammunition without lawful excuse. We have the details from the court. Also, double intelligence gathering process to eliminate terror threat. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia tells the Ghana Army as terror cells built in neighboring countries.
I urge you to continue to show commitment and dedication to ensure that all troubled spots across the country are brought under control.
Students of the University of Ghana kick against new policy aimed at giving preferential treatment to first-year students in room allocation.
All they are trying to solve is accommodation problem. And if they are taking the continuing students out of the system and then bringing level 100, at the end of the day, they are not solving any problem.
I think equal opportunity should be given to both fresh students and continuing students. As a continuing student, it's not fair.
Advocacy against comprehensive sexuality education program intensifies as law lecturer and a family advocate describe the move as demonic and a subtle way of introducing LGBT to school pupils.
It will explain to you how very subtle and how very, critical the strategy of the LGBT activism
is completely taking abstinence away from children and sexualizing them. It is a demonic agenda.
We'll hear from the National Council for Curriculum Assessment as it assures the program will not open the floodgate for an alien culture to be introduced to pupils.
We want to avoid a situation whereby an entity, an institution somewhere will get into our country and begin to introduce some concepts that are alien to our course. CSC is absolutely not in any way to promote anything that are alien to us.
We have sports.
Ahead of her vetting as an aspirant of the Ghana EFA today, Amanda Clinton says she's hopeful of becoming the next GFA president.
We have all that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. We settle for the details now, and a senior military officer, Colonel Samuel Kojo Gameli, and Gershon Akpa, a civilian employee of the Ghana Armed Forces, have been charged for their role in an elaborate plot targeted at the presidency. The two were today charged with possession of explosives, arms and ammunition without lawful excuse. Government, in a statement released on Monday, said a joint security operation on Friday led to the retrieval of several arms, explosive devices and ammunition from locations in Accra and Pong Bawaleshi in Dodowa. We'll bring you the latest on the story, but details are emerging as to how the team was close to executing their alleged plan against the presidency. In this security desk report, Gifty Andrapia chronicles information available to us by our sources within the security agencies.
What we know so far indicates the doctor and a ring of people allegedly contacted the staff at the ammunition depot seeking 10 AK-47 guns at a fee, 7,000 cedis of which was part payment made. They subsequently demanded a refund, a move our sources believe was either because the requested ammunitions could not be secured as scheduled or because they got the ammunition they wanted elsewhere. Empty magazines were allegedly found and retrieved at the premises of Citadel Hospital. Government statement refers to a group formed by the alleged coup plotters called Take Action Ghana. Our security sources say it is a cross-sector group consisting of student, market women, taxi drivers, people in academia, police officers, ex-servicemen, as well as active military officers, some of whom have already been picked up. It is unclear the specific number of active servicemen allegedly involved, but at least 12 officers have been implicated. We know a stop list has been issued the Ghana Immigration Service already to make sure that those connected to the matter do not leave the country as investigations continue. Our sources corroborate government claims. Recorded audio and video evidence exist as proof of government's allegation, and that enough evidence was gathered as far back as July last year. They also tell us the pictures being circulated, some of which are being used cynically and jokingly on social media, media are about 1% of the story, which is why government insists this is not a hoax. The sale and purchase of the chemicals referred to by government's initial statement are being seriously investigated, as 22 improvised explosive devices picked up from Dr. McPalm's premises are also being tested to establish the component and the extent of damage they were built to cause.
That's head of our security desk, Gifty Andro-Appiah, giving us details as to what we know so far. But let's head to the court now, because they were told that a senior military officer, Colonel Samuel Kojo Gameli, and Gershon Akpa, a civilian employee of the Ghana Armed Forces, have been charged today for their role in that plan as well. Joseph Akablay was in court and joins us. Joseph, so what do we know? What are the details of today's case?
And to MFA first, the state prosecutors say that the two members of Take Action Ghana, which is a group that we understand is led by Dr. Mark Palm, the medical practitioner who was charged on Tuesday with a similar offense. We are told that they intended to engage in a series of demonstrations geared at toppling government. ASP Sylvester Asai, who is leading the state's prosecution, revealed that these individuals have since secured the services of one other person who was also charged on Tuesday to produce explosives and guns for the operation. And this production was taking place at the Citadel Hospital. We are told that he charged them an amount of 2,300 cedis for each pistol that he produced. And so far, had produced 6 of them. We are again told that the explosive cost 400 cedis each. And with that, a number of them have already been produced, which are currently evidence that is in the possession of the state. He asks that the court remands them into the BNI custody as investigations are still ongoing.
Well, you know, the last time we were in court, at least we heard Dr. Frederick Yao Mark Palm say that he's not guilty of the charges. Did we get a similar case into the other hearing today as well?
No, the two individuals were quite calm all throughout the process. They were actually brought in at sometime around 10 a.m. But the prosecutors, we are told, had other engagements, so they went around. So we're present in a court with the two individuals all throughout for hours. They never said anything. They sat calmly all throughout. They didn't have legal representation too. On Tuesday when we went, you recall that Victor Dawood was present to represent the other 3 individuals who were charged. For these two, they didn't have any legal representation.
Well, that's my colleague Joseph Akablay joining us with details from the court today. The latest incident also today, we know that a senior military officer, Colonel Samuel Kojo Gameli, and Gershon Akpa, a civilian employee, have also been charged with as part of the elaborate plot targeted at the presidency. Lawyer Victor Kojoga Adawudu, we are told, is lawyer for the two as well. He joins us on the line. We're grateful for your time here on the Midday News. We are told you weren't aware that your clients will be put before court today.
MFA is unfortunate. Let me say good afternoon to Jerry's listeners. And I'll say that it's unfortunate that my clients will be put before court and we will not be informed earlier. I was at the BNI custody, had conference with them, and left there as late as 5:30 p.m. yesterday. And I'm sure that whilst our discussion, and I spoke to the colonel, that so hasn't the military come for him or anything since he's been in BNI custody since Monday. If nothing happens, I was going to file habeas corpus. And I'm sure that is why he was put before court. And it was whilst they were in court that they started calling me that they've taken them to court and I should rush to court. And I told you I wasn't in town. I had come to court in Odumase Krobo. So it is unfortunate that I've been there. They know my number and they know the procedure to call me. They failed to call me. It all tells you that there is something that is being covered up there. And I have insisted on my word and said that this is all set up, is dilatory, and we cannot glorify this. We will wait patiently, let them be put and charged, their plea taken, and the drama will unfold. This nation will be shocked to hear. And I'll say it here and there that, I'm now beginning to understand that sometimes when we have professionals and we also have some miscreants within the security setup, that they do unintelligent things that sometimes it is believed and we are told. We would wake up to see this drama unfold.
So your clients were in court today without legal representation and they were charged. What will be the next line of action for you? What do you intend to do about this?
We were not told when they were going to court. We were not informed. This is the rule of law. We are in a government of rule of law. So how will you take somebody without telling his lawyer when you have his numbers and everything, only to get to the court and say we are in court, so come to court? So we would wait and take what the proceedings that was in court. I'm sure they did not take their plea. They've remanded them. And on the day when they are charged, we are waiting patiently for them to be charged and put before the court, and the plea is taken. Then when
we are told that they've been charged with possession of explosives, arms, and ammunition without lawful excuse.
Yes, normally what they did was that the plea was not taken. When you are charged and you are put before court, the court will have to take whether you are guilty or not guilty. My understanding that it was not done.
Okay.
It was not done. So just that they went to remand them, to put a charge before and remand them. And I believe that's what they have done, to remand them that a date will be given. So when we get to town with my other lawyers who are also out of town, we would see what had happened in court and we will respond appropriately. Or the day the court has said that we come back, we will go. But we are eager and waiting that we should be put the charges, then the drama will start unfolding and people will be shocked as to how this set up. And when you put people who are unintelligent to ask people to set up, these are the kind of things that will wake up to.
We are grateful for your time. That's lawyer Victor Kojoga Adawudu, apart from representing Dr. Yao Palmer, who is said to be the mastermind of the coup plot. He's lawyer for senior military officer Colonel Samuel Kojo Gameli, and Gershon Akpa, a civilian employee of the Ghana Armed Forces, who've also been charged today without legal representation. But let's stay at the stables of the Ghana Armed Forces, because government has urged the Ghana Army to be swift in its intelligence gathering process to effectively neutralize threats posed by terror groups. With Ghana's neighbors currently battling terror, the Vice President assured personnel of the Ghana Armed Forces of government's commitment to provide the needed logistics to eliminate similar threats in Ghana. Dr. Baumia said this at the 2019 edition of the Ghana Army Week celebration at the Ghana Military Academy this morning.
We should therefore redouble our intelligence gathering efforts and sharpen our readiness in order not to be taken by surprise. The government on its part will do all within its means to ensure that you get the necessary training and logistics required to carry out your counter-terrorism operations. Your support to the other security agencies as part of your internal operations has brought about sanity in most of the troubled spots across the country. I urge you to continue to show commitment and dedication to ensure that all troubled spots across the country are brought under control. I urge you to continue to work closely with your civilian counterparts as well as sister security agencies and institutions for the safety and security of the citizenry in the country.
You have the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. Now let's go on to talk about this controversial issue, because advocacy against the comprehensive sexuality education program already introduced to pupils from age 4 is intensifying as parents and activists kick against contents of the program, even though officials are assuring that the program will be age appropriate and empower them against harassment. There are concerns about the contents of this particular program. Some activists, however, want the subject removed totally from the curriculum. Reacting to the policy on the Super Morning Show this morning, lawyer Fuam Weni says it is a subtle way of introducing lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender tendencies into Ghanaian children.
Now, Prof was saying there's nothing new. If there's nothing new, why do you go and bring another name? Is it because of the money you're receiving or what? And I'm happy he starts from that premise that we already had everything that they think is positive in CSE already. So question, why do we have to rechristen it? What's the point?
We're sorry about that. We'll get you that sound shortly. But also sharing her thoughts on the issue, founding president of Family Renaissance International, Mama Kathy, called on parents to come together and kick against the policy. And also, we can hear from some parents on the matter as well. Also, the executive secretary of the National Council for Curriculum Assessment, NACA, Dr. Prince Ama, is assuring that the comprehensive sexuality education program will not open the floodgate for an alien culture to be introduced to pupils. We'll hear from him as well. You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Let's move on to some other stories. We'll come back to that controversial issue shortly, because Joy News is learning that government has suspended indefinitely the Electricity Company of Ghana concessionaire agreement between the entity and private firm Power Distribution Company PDS. A letter written by minority firm Meralco to Philippines Stock Exchange, intercepted by Joy News, says the company is considering moving its business from Ghana due to the uncertainty surrounding the deal. We have more in this latest twist, and my colleague Fred Smith joins me in studio for more on this. Fred, tell us more about the statement we have on
this letter is written by the Senior Assistant Vice President and Head of Financial Reporting at Meralco, Jesslyn F. Almero, and he's writing to Ms. Janet A. Encarnacion. This is the head of disclosure department at the Philippine Stock Exchange.
Okay.
And here's what it says. We reply to your letter dated September 23, 2019, received through a certain system. It says, requiring us to clarify and or confirm the information contained in the news article titled Meralco plans to pull out investment in Ghana, posted in philstar.com on September 23, 2019, and the article reported in part that, quote, Manila, Philippines, Manila Electric Company, Meralco, is planning to pull out its investment in Ghana's power distribution utility if the political situation in that country does not improve, its top official has said. Quote, we are still waiting for developments. It's a Ghana government issue, Meralco President and CEO Ray Espinosa said. However, Espinosa said that Meralco is exposed to political risk following the suspension of its concession.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, the terms are good, but if we will be exposed to these types of uncertainties, we might as well pull out and just devote our attention to the country. And even in Asia, it's more stable. Maybe we don't have the DNA for that kind of risk in Africa yet, Espinosa said. Now, here's what follows. It says, with reference to the said news article, we would like to confirm the statements attributed to our president and CEO, Ati Ray Espinosa, with regards to the company's investments in Ghana. Mm-hmm. We also would like to inform the exchange that the suspension of the concession agreement, as reported in the company's July 31, 2019 disclosure, had been indefinitely extended by the government of Ghana. We will apprise the exchange for any development on this matter. Jesslyn Almero.
Interesting there, and that's Joy News editor Fred Smith bringing us details of that letter from Meralco to the Philippine Stock Exchange, intercepted by Joy News. But let's go back to that story. I don't know if it's the machine's way of rejecting the sexuality education program as well, but we can now hear from lawyer Fuamweni, who says it is a subtle way of introducing lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender tendencies into Ghanaian children.
Now, Prof was saying there's nothing new. If there's nothing new, why do you go and bring another name? Is it because of the money you're receiving or what? And I'm happy he starts from that premise that we already had everything that they think is positive in CSE already. So question, why do we have to rechristen it? What's the point? As they say in English, if it is not broken, why fix it? What's the point? And the point is very simple. And I feel a bit of pity for not only Prof, but also the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, even the Minister, the Ministry, and a lot of other Ghanaians who have been made a part of this clear LGBT agenda. Let me read to you a quotation from Strained Relationships, The Challenge of Homosexuality, written by Professor Bill Molenbeek. It will explain to you how very subtle and how very, critical the strategy of the LGBT activism is. Education is strong because if you win the mind, then you can win what? The heart. And it is education not only from age 14, 15, 16, the adolescents that you and I are talking about, but they're looking at the child because that is a strategy they call cradle to grave. They work on the instincts, the feelings of children, make them feel that, oh, it is nice to be erotic, to touch your organs, to masturbate, to do all sorts of the freedom, which in latter years, they will encourage you to accept.
Also sharing her thoughts on the issue, founding president of the Family Renaissance International, Kathy Uduoket, called on parents to come together and kick against the policy.
We will not accept, together with as many people that are pro-life, will not accept education that sexualizes children well ahead of time. We will not take over power from parents. It is high time that we get parents together and let them take ownership, take responsibility, okay, in teaching their children about sex. And if it comes to the classroom, we should be able to respect certain ages, because what has sexual part and all of the things that come with it got to do with little children that are still trying to figure out themselves? Okay, so we are talking about what do you call it now? Reproductive health issues and all of those things that surround it. Excuse me, please. What has sex ever helped a child to achieve? Except for depression, suicidal thoughts, and all the anxiety and all of that.
Kathy Uduoket there. We can hear from some parents who've been sharing their thoughts as well on the issue.
Oh, yes. Because that early child, they will grow earlier with it. So it's better you do it that way.
The idea it will be good. Why? Yeah, they are too small. Yes, they are too small. Because I have one. It can't. No. 12. It's okay. Even let's take it 10, 12. That's all. Abba, it's too small.
At 5, they are very mature. They are very young, and I don't think they can even. They have a clue about what they are being taught. So I think they should just let them be matured enough. Maybe from one going will be okay. Their minds are a little developed and they can understand. But 5, I don't know. They might even misinterpret the whole thing, and then it becomes a different issue altogether. I don't know. Yes, depending on the environment they are coming from, it can affect them.
Some parents there by the Executive Secretary of the National Council for Curriculum Assessment, NACA, Dr. Prince Ama, is assuring that the comprehensive sexuality education program will not open the floodgate for an alien culture to be introduced to our pupils.
Called CSE. It is not a subject, it's a cross-cutting issue. It is not being introduced under the new curriculum. It is something already in existence. We want to avoid a situation whereby an entity, an institution somewhere will get into our country and begin to introduce some concepts that are alien to our culture, and therefore we are setting parameters through this policy guidelines that they must live within. And we have strengthened it by saying that everything that is being done must be within acceptable cultural values and norms of our society. And so CSC is absolutely not in any way to promote anything called alien to us.
You have Dr. Prince Ama, NACA Executive Secretary. You're listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Our top story so far, senior military officer and one other person suspected of engaging in an elaborate plot targeted at the presidency slapped with charge of possession of explosives, arms and ammunition without lawful excuse. We've heard from the lawyer who's saying that he wasn't aware that his clients will be put before court today. Still to come here on the Midday News, students of the University of Ghana kick against new policy aimed at giving preferential treatment to first-year students in room allocation.
What they are trying to solve is accommodation problem. And if they are taking the continuing students out of the system and then bringing them 100, at the end of the day, they are not solving any problem.
I think equal opportunity should be given to both fresh students and continuing students. As a continuing student, it's not fair.
My name is Kwame Sefakai, and most of you know me as a media personality, but I am also a family man. The UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, saves me so much time by letting me do almost all of my banking transactions on my phone. The cardless withdrawal feature allows me to withdraw cash from any UMB ATM without an ATM card. I can also pay bills, transfer money, request for a loan, invest money, and so much more. So now, I can spend less time at the bank and more time with the ones I love. Bank anywhere and anytime with a UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, and get the time to do what you love most. Download the UMB Speed App from your Android, iOS, or Windows phone today. Call 0302 633 988 for more information. UMB Speed App, Digibank, let's go.
Kremasa, Ghana, so we correct medicine pa. A yamikosi super. Me a super medicine ankasa. Because our job no enye better. They won't see how beautiful and high quality your work is. That be what them they use believe you. That be why me too. It be only super cement at the use. Cement mu cement. Cement papa pa. Inti me cries in from because super. Because me the super cement and DVD ra.
Super Cement is designed to ensure that your buildings stand strong for generations. Build with Super Cement. Build your dream. Build.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. Let's do sports. Benedict Owusu, what's happening in the world of sports?
Now, the vetting process is on for the GFA presidential aspirants 4, that is Ketu Kriku, Nana Amponsa, Amanda Clinton, and George Ankama Mensah will appear before the committee today. Yesterday on the Pause on Joy News channel, aspirant Amanda Clinton talked about what makes her the favorite to land the top job.
You know, I'm female.
But you're female, whether you like it or not.
I'm female. It's an advantage in terms of, I suppose, you know, the package, the look, or whatever.
Is that an advantage?
It's an advantage because it gets you in the door. But it always it also happens to be what you say thereafter or how you package the message. And I think people are always pleasantly surprised because they expect me to come with a particular approach, whereas I come very over-prepared work-wise and I have a very firm plan. But being a woman has been a non-issue. As I said, you know, the former EXCO that is the GFO, completely male. They met with a whole bunch of lawyers and...
So that's GFA presidential aspirant Amanda Clinton. Now, 2 Ghanaian clubs, Asante Kotoko and Ashanti Gold, are in action in the CAF Interclub competitions this weekend. Kotoko are in Tunisia to play against the Etoile du Sahel, with Ashanti Gold in Morocco to face RS Berkane. Now, both teams must either win or draw to make the group stage of their respective competitions. And you know, the World Athletics Championship, that's the IAAF, is starting today with Joseph Paul Amoah hitting the tracks in the men's 100 meters heat. That will be around 3 o'clock GMT. Well, join us on Locker Room for more sports.
Thank you very much, Benedict. Let's talk about sanitation now. It's a Joy Clean Ghana campaign, because from Aveno to Jamestown and from Choko to North Kaneshi, the Joy Clean Ghana campaign, in collaboration with the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, has been checking and enforcing the AMA bylaws. But today, the Sanitation Minister, Cecilia Abnadapa, has been educating traders and drivers at the Nungwa market on the need to keep their surroundings clean. And my colleague Nancy MFA Dradosi is with the team and joins us on the line. So you're in the Nungwa market. What exactly have you been doing?
Enifa, so when she entered the market, she observed that some of the market women were selling by gases that had plastic and liquid waste in them. And so she asked them to get to work and clean the place and educate them on the need to, keep their surroundings clean. Also, she also met some taxi drivers in the area, and she announced to them that very soon there's going to be a government policy that is going to ensure that every public transport is going to be having a little bin in their car so that passengers can drop their rubbish in it anytime they do so. From the Nungwa, we also moved to Teshi and also Labati, where they found similar challenges. She also announced that about 20,000 dustbins are going to be distributed to constituencies across the country, and also 200 public toilets are going to be built very, very soon, so that it will aid people in their communities.
What was the reaction of the traders and the drivers?
Well, the drivers say that yes, they are going to welcome the news, because a lot of the time when the people drop the rubbish in the car, they do not know where to keep them. But if they're going to be having little bins in their cars, it will help them so that when they get to their destinations, they'll be able to also dispose them off. The traders who were also there were also very excited with the tour by the minister, because they say that yes, somebody has come down to their level to come and tell them or educate them on what to do.
You heard that Nancy Emefa Dradosi there from Lungwa, but some students of the University of Ghana are kicking against a new policy aimed at giving preferential treatment to first-year students in room allocation. The school has in recent times been hit by accommodation crisis during admission of fresh students. It currently allows students who secure accommodation to hold on to it till they exit. Well, that's set to change, and student journalists have been reporting on that. We'll bring you that subsequently in other bulletins. But what's trending on social media? Komla Adam.
MFA hashtag Sarah is trending on social media, and it's off the Sarkodie album. And this one from @theshader_ says Sarkodie drops an average song, then his fans come online and hype it while he stays retweeting. This one also by Papa Script. It says somebody tell Omino and Opana say the track go plus the hashtag Snappy Dance, hashtag Sarkodie featuring Efia Nocturnal, hashtag Sarah.
Is it out yet?
It's dropping today.
Oh, okay. So it's a Sarah weekend, and that's it for the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM. Of course, there's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Living Word with Dr. Mensa Otabil is up next Tuesday.
So everyone says I'm a Kosia Philip, but it's not like I'm